Hey everybody, it's your old buddy Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, this is show 214. Today's date is April 23rd, 2018, and the name of the show is Info-Whores. I know, some people are going to go, wait a minute, that's a little rough. But guys, I'm sure you're familiar with the term Info-Whores from Alex Jones. And I tell you, Alex Jones is a whore. He's just like the Foxtitudes that we see on Fox TV and the conservative media. And I really wanted to do the show on income inequality, and we're going to get to it. But first, we're going to make sure that the equality of Alex Jones' income goes down to zip. And guys, I hope, because of the nonsense, now you got to remember, we're coming to you from Danbury, Connecticut. We're a stone's throw from Sandy Hook, Connecticut. And Alex Jones thinks that the 20 kids and the 6 teachers that got slaughtered, he claimed it was a hoax. Well, that crap don't float in my toilet, and I'm sure it's same thing with you guys. And tonight we're going to go out of our way to expose Alex Jones for the fruitcake and the fraud that he really is. We're going to embarrass him and make him look stupid. And guys, it's not going to just be me. We're going to start off with Megyn Kelly. She did an interview, and I tell you, we're going to have a clip from a woman that is so full of hate. She's been so fired up by Info-Wars that she actually wants to kill the parents of the kids that, oh guys, it's sick. It's really sick. Then we're going to show you about, Chiboni. Jones had a beef with Chiboni, the yogurt place. The Muslims and the aliens were working there. And then he started this stuff with the Pizzagate. And guys, it just goes on, and tonight we're going to stop it. And hopefully, this guy, the same thing will happen to Alex Jones as what happened to Gawker when Hulk Hogan went after Gawker, and he sued them, and he ended up bankrupting them. Well, that's what we want to do with clowns like Alex Jones. Bankrupt them. Get them off the air. If you're going to preach this nonsense, and if you're going to try to trick the simple folk like Uncle Joey and all his buddies and pals, and guys, there's a bunch of people I got to say hi to, like Eddie Shaluk and Eva, and a bunch of people from Danbury, and I'm sorry, from Hastings, where I used to be from. And guys, some of these people, I don't know, they believe in things that don't exist and can't be proven. They refuse to accept global warming. But guys, we're going to have some fun going after the pocketbook, because that's the only way we can stop this. If we take away the money from them, take away the reason for them to profit for preaching this nonsense, they can't do it anymore. So let's start with our first clip, and this is with Megyn Kelly. And guys, just listen how sincere she is and how she really, and listen to the questions that she asked. And she didn't let Alex Jones get away. She took no prisoners. Another one of the terms that we love to use here. Just like every time we say, be specific and cite your source. Well, Megyn Kelly's my source for this one. So Judy, clip number 2, please.
2 families of children who died in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary shooting are now suing radio host Alex Jones for defamation. The controversial host of Info-Wars has long suggested the media faked information about the shooting. He talked about it with NBC's Megyn Kelly last June.
All of the parents decided to come out and lie about their dead children.
I didn't say that.
What happened to the children?
I will sit there on the air and look at every position and play devil's advocate.
Was that devil's advocate? The whole thing is a giant hoax. The whole thing was fake.
Yes, because I remember even that day, if I go back from memory, then saying, but then some of it looks like it's real. But then what do you do when they've got the kids going in circles in and out of the building with their hands up? I've watched the footage, and it looks like a drill.
Yesterday,
evil.
Alex Jones responded to the
evil
lawsuit
man.
in a video message.
I believe Sandy Hook happened. And early on, I was being bullied by internet folks and others to say nobody died. And when I wouldn't say nobody died in the debates, and I would actually side with those that said that people did die, they would say that I was a government agent.
NBC's Megyn Kelly, host of Megyn Kelly Today, will have an exclusive interview with one of the parents suing Jones. She joins me now for a preview. This is the first civil lawsuit against Alex Jones in this matter. What do we know about why these parents are suing?
Wait, we're going to show you plenty.
Because he won't let up. Neither he nor the people who work for him. This lawsuit is brought against Info-Whores, and there's an employee named Owen Schroyer who doubled down on these controversial comments after one of the Newtown dads, one of the parents went on with Anderson Cooper, and one of the Newtown dads, Neil Heslin, came on with me. And Neil said to me that he held the body of his dead son in his hands and was making the point that he's had enough. He's had enough of Alex Jones and this nonsense about Sandy Hook never happening. And true to form, Info-Whores doubled down in the wake of Anderson Cooper, in the wake of us, and went after the parents again. And Owen Schroyer is saying, oh, the bodies were never released to the parents, referring to a coroner's remark that he didn't require the parents to identify the bodies in person, but rather by photograph, which does not speak at all to whether the parents ever received the bodies back, which is, of course, what happened so that they could bury them. The point of this lawsuit is to stop it. To stop it once and for all. The point of our speaking to Alex Jones was to expose him for the untethered conspiracy theorist that he is, and he clearly hasn't learned his lesson, because even in response to that, he continues with the nonsense and the lies to the detriment of the Newtown families.
You heard what Alex Jones said there in that clip that we just played in response to the lawsuit. He also said Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake with actors. They staged Sandy Hook. The evidence is overwhelming. It just pretty much didn't happen. He has claimed that those remarks
evil, isn't it, guys?
have been taken out of context somehow. How can he still make those claims?
He tried to say to me, as you heard, that he was playing devil's advocate. And what you find out when you listen to Alex Jones is that he's not wrong that he was under, quote, pressure to say this was a hoax. The people listening to Info-Whores want him to say that, and a large number of them believe that. Some people think that Info-Whores is just like it's like an alt-right site, it's like a it's not. This is conspiracy town, conspiracy town. And they did want him to say it, and he said it. And then he'd dial it back a little, and then he'd say it again, and so he's played this cat and mouse game for years, but the Newtown families have to deal with it. And whenever he goes out there and says the stuff that the conspiracy theorists want him to say, the threat levels go up to the families. One of the families that's now suing received death threats. A woman went to jail for threatening death to the Newtown families for this alleged hoax, which they were led to believe happened by Alex Jones. And it's about time someone tried to hold him accountable in the courts. Somebody.
Tomorrow morning, Neil Heslin, right?
Yeah, so this dad will be back, and we'll talk about it. He came on my show after his son was murdered. He came on my show when we talked about Alex Jones in July, and he's coming on again tomorrow to talk about what he's finally trying to do to stop this nonsense.
Megyn Kelly, always good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Megyn Kelly Today. It's every day, weekdays, 9 o'clock Eastern, only on In.
Guys, you heard it right there. You heard it for yourself, right? A woman is going to jail for threatening to kill the Sandy Hook parents. Well, something like that we can't let go. And what do we call the show? Who's telling the truth? Let's find out if that's the truth. Let's find out if she's going to jail. And let's see if it's real news and not the fake crap that Alex Jones is trying to peddle. So, Judy, clip number 3, please.
A Florida woman who believed the 2012 massacre at a Connecticut elementary school was a hoax was sentenced to 5 months in federal prison on Wednesday after pleading guilty to threatening a parent of one of the children killed.
Can you
Prosecutors
believe this?
accused Lucy Richards, 57, of saying she would kill a parent of a Sandy Hook Elementary School victim, telling the parent, "You're gonna die? Death is coming to you real soon." Richards of the Tampa area pleaded guilty in Fort Lauderdale to one count of transmitting threats via interstate commerce in January 2016, according to a statement from the acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. The parent, who was not named, lives in South Florida. The attack at Sandy Hook in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14, 2012 was one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. Adam Lanza, 20, killed 20 first-grade students and 6 adults on staff before taking his own life. The shooter had earlier that same day killed his mother at the home they shared.
Guys, it's pretty simple. She's been brainwashed to hate. The conservative way. The Republican answer to everything. Hate and fear. And what happens is you get these Fruit Loops, and she doesn't look like she's wrapped too tight. She might be off her meds. You know, if she has access to an assault weapon or any kind of weapon, you think she's going to use it? Of course. Why? Because she thinks she's a patriot. She thinks she's doing the right thing. And why does she think she's doing the right thing? Because she hears it over and over and over again. And you watch Fox News and it never stops. But guys, like we said earlier, there's a way to make it stop. And the way you make this nonsense stop is simple. You sue. And Hulk Hogan sued. And once again, we're going to prove our point. And hopefully the parents from Sandy Hook will have as much luck as Hulk Hogan did. And they'll put Alex Jones out of business. So, Judy, let's see what happened with Hulk Hogan. Clip 4, please.
For the popular and controversial media company Gawker, now filing for bankruptcy protection.
The move is coming 3 months after pro wrestler Hulk Hogan won a $140 million verdict against the company for publishing a tape of him having sex. And ABC's Lindsay Janis has more on these new developments.
Overnight, Hulk Hogan's crushing legal victory over Gawker Media, forcing the company to file for bankruptcy. Just 3 months ago, a Florida jury awarding Hogan, whose real name is Terry Bollea, $140 million, punishing Gawker for invading the former pro wrestler's privacy by publishing a tape of him having sex. Failing to pay up, Gawker Media assets, including its websites, Gawker.com, Gizmodo, and Jezebel, will now be auctioned off. The company saying the sale and filing are intended to safeguard the jobs of journalists and allow Gawker Media to fund the appeal.
The appeals court would need to resolve this case.
Gawker maintaining its actions were protected by the First Amendment, saying even Hogan publicly discussed that sex tape.
Talking about it's a lot different than having somebody illegally post the tape when you're seen naked in front of 7 million people.
Shortly after news of Gawker going out of business broke, Hogan tweeted, "What a beautiful day. Only good happens to me."
The jury verdict in the Hulk Hogan case was extraordinary, unprecedented in many ways.
It was recently revealed that PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel helped bankroll Hogan's legal costs, apparent payback after Gawker outed Thiel as gay. Overnight, Gawker CEO Nick Denton tweeting, "Even with his billions, Thiel will not silence our writers. Our sites will thrive under new ownership and will win in court."
The Hulk Hogan Gawker case is far from over. We should expect to see lots of legal wrangling.
For Good Morning America, Lindsay Janis, ABC News, New York.
Guys, you know, sometimes it's a little rough. But you got to do what you got to do. And I mean, sometimes it's the only thing you can do. Because these guys profit so much. They make so much money. And you say to yourself, why would they do it? You know, why would they do what they do? They do it for one reason, the money. You have to do it for the money. You can't hate other people as much as these people do. It's got to be for the money. And guys, the next clip, we're going to show you the Young Turks. They really, they call Alex Jones a monster, and they prove it. And I tell you, sometimes I like, you know, I like twisting a knife after it's been stuck in, because sometimes that's the only thing these people understand. So, Judy, let's prove our point with clip number 5, please.
The mass shooting that took place in Newtown, Connecticut back in 2012 claimed the lives of 26 people. 20 of those people were actually children. And as heartbreaking as that story was, unfortunately, we live among monsters, and one of those monsters is Alex Jones, who is now facing a defamation lawsuit that was filed by some of the parents who lost their children during the Newtown massacre. Now, the 3 parents whose children were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012 filed a defamation lawsuit against him, who has long claimed that the shooting was, quote, completely fake and a giant hoax perpetrated by opponents of the Second Amendment. Now, he's talked about this over and over again on his program. And more recently, he brought it up again and said that it was a false flag operation. Media Matters has been compiling some of this video, and here is an example of some of the things that he said.
Sandy Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake. I mean, even I couldn't believe it. I knew they jumped on it, used the crisis, hyped it up, but then I did deep research, and my gosh, it just pretty much didn't happen. I mean, I've interviewed the cops and the people that saw the feds plant the bombs in Oklahoma City. You saw them stage Fast and Furious. Folks, they staged Aurora. They staged Sandy Hook. The evidence is just overwhelming. The Newtown kids, they take them, put them in our face, tell us their names, who they were. I heard an ad this morning on the radio, Bloomberg paid for locally, going, I dropped Billy off and watched him go around the corner. And he never came back, all because of the guns. Won't you just turn your guns in for my son?
Well, we should all take comfort in the fact that that unhinged maniac lost custody of his own children. But with that said, I also want to mention that part of the reason why this story is so disgusting is because after he had done those videos, his viewers started attacking the parents who had just buried their own children. So imagine having to go through that kind of pain, and then you have to deal with these unhinged, crazy people coming after you and threatening you with violence. In fact, a Florida woman who believes that Sandy Hook was a false flag operation or a hoax was sentenced to 5 months in prison for making death threats against one of the parents. She was sending him emails, messages, and luckily she was prosecuted, convicted, and sent to prison. But no parent should have to, A, deal with their kids getting shot and killed in a mass shooting, and B, deal with trolls harassing them incessantly following that mass shooting.
So all the right wings think that this is a game and they have fun. Guys like Milo and Alex Jones and you go down the list. And Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, were back when he was alive, and I interviewed him, and he thought it was all just fun. It's not fun when you had your kid murdered. And then you start getting death threats because someone online convinced you that convinced that person that you're an actor. Imagine if your kids had been killed, and then these monsters come and nonstop harass you, and then start giving you death threats. So that's not a game. It's not fun. It's not funny. And Alex Jones did a segment in April 22nd of 2017. Newtown happened in 2012. So 5 years later, on his radio show, it was called Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed. So to do that to those parents, knowing at that point his followers had been haranguing them and harassing them and threatening them all that time, and he pours more fuel on that fire, knowing the misery that he's going to cause those parents. But he doesn't care because it's going to make him an extra buck. What a sick, sick guy. And then they have the temerity to pretend that they care what we said about them, what you said about them. Oh my God, they're so offended. Are you insane? The things that you've done, the monstrous things that you've done. So
I will never regret anything I have ever said about him or to him, ever. So let's just put that out there. Anyone can call me whatever they want, hypocrite, whatever. I stand by any statement I've ever made about him.
And
so let's just keep it there.
Yeah, the minute he apologized to those parents, and by the way, at some point he will, because he'll lose the case. And as he has done many times, lots of bluster and, oh, I'm this and that, and they're vampires, and I figured it out. And then he gets sued, and then he has to admit in court or go to court in another context and go, okay, it's all an act. I have a bunch of idiots who listen to me. They're all incredibly stupid. It's easy to trick them. And so for money and for a tiny bit of fame, what do? I trick them for a living. I'm actually an actor. And I get them to hate other people and ruin their lives. That's how I make money. When he apologized to everyone who he's ever lied about and all the people that he has harassed and affected, then we'll consider whether we'll have further conversation with Alex Jones. But don't count on it. In this case, though, I'd be very surprised if he didn't lose the case. And I don't know how he's going to get $1 million. I don't know how many of those stupid shakes that he sold. But if he did it for the money, now they're going for his money, which I guess makes sense. If you become a member of the Young Turks,
tricking the simple folk. That's what they're out to do. Take advantage of the simple folk. Right, Uncle Joey? Hey guys, I always give Uncle Joey the business, you know, and we're at each other all the time. But I want to tell you, we had an issue. My wife had an issue with the camper, and Uncle Joey came through. So, you know, it's so odd. He's such a good guy, but yet he's a Republican, and he refuses to change on anything. And, you know, getting back to suits, you know, not just personal suits, but there's also corporate suits. And Alex Jones got himself involved with Chobani Yogurt. He started giving them the business that immigrants worked there that had diseases, that, oh, that's a bad jazz. And this is Chobani Yogurt. The guy is an immigrant. And guys, he gave out equal shares of his company to his employees as a bonus. Not a temporary bonus, gave them a share in the company. That's how much he favors his employees. Not like the corporate America that we're used to. But you know what? That was enough for Alex Jones to go after him. Why? Because you don't want to give people a living wage and treat them like people. You want to take advantage of them. So let's see what Alex Jones did and what Chobi is doing to get back at him. So Judy, clip number 6, please.
Reports Greek yogurt giant Chobani says there is no other option but to take conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to court. A lawsuit filed in federal court accuses Jones of making false claims that link Chobani to a spike in tuberculosis and a sexual assault case in Idaho last year. That is where the company operates the world's largest yogurt plant. Don Daler is outside the Chobani Cafe in New York City with how the popular yogurt maker became a target of right-wing media. Don, good morning.
Good morning. Chobani says those stories promoted by Alex Jones and his website Info-Whores have encouraged boycotts. Officials in Idaho say Chobani had nothing to do with these crimes, but they still say that Alex Jones and others deny that.
I am under massive sustained jihad attack.
Info-Wars creator Alex Jones remains defiant about claims he and his website made about Chobani and its founder.
People he brought in and force-fed on America have now been implicated, indicted, and have pled guilty to that.
Jones was responding to Chobani's lawsuit, claiming this Info-Wars segment is full of lies.
So the report from The Hill said that Breitbart at the time had said that this plant had brought not only refugees, but crime and tuberculosis.
Jones sent the video to his more than 600,000 Twitter followers with the provocative headline, Idaho yogurt maker caught importing migrant rapists. Chobani says in the complaint, nowhere in the video do the defendants state that the plaintiff was caught importing migrant rapists. Defendants knowingly misrepresented the facts. The story stems from the sexual assault of a 5-year-old girl in Twin Falls, Idaho. 3 boys from refugee families pled guilty. Chobani employs about 300 refugees in its Twin Falls factory. Posts on Info-Whores and other right-wing websites suggested the company had some responsibility.
Not one shred of fact to that.
Mayor Sean Berriger says he's seen nothing linking the crime to Chobani.
But I certainly have heard some folks who've said they're excited to see Chobani make that effort to correct the record.
Hey brother, how you doing? Chobani's founder, Hamdi Yulukaya, is from Turkey and has been vocal on immigration. He spoke to 60 Minutes' Steve Croft earlier this month.
One publication had a headline that said, American yogurt tycoon vows to choke U.S. with Muslims.
Yeah. What do you say?
People targeted you.
Yeah. It was an emotional time. People, hate you for doing something right. I mean, what can you do about that? There's not much you can do.
Jones claims President Trump is one of his fans, and during the campaign he promoted another fictitious story about the Democrats and Hillary Clinton running a child sex ring out of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria. But when faced with the possibility of lawsuits, Jones retracted that and apologized. We reached out to Jones and his attorney, but we have not yet heard back from them. Alex.
Don, thanks.
Wait, we'll get to the sex ring in the pizza place in a minute. But first, we're going to have more fun with a mother's anguish. And I'm sorry I said the word fun. That shouldn't be the word I use. But there's a guy called Seth Rich, and he was murdered. And Fox News tried to make a political statement about this. And, well, you're going to hear the mother's anguish and the mother's grief. And, guys, it's just more of what Fox News, the Foxtitude, and the Info-Whores do. So, Judy, let's prove my point with clip 7, please.
Slain DNC staffer Seth Rich has been the subject of twisted conspiracy theories. At one point last year, Fox News posted and promoted a story connecting Rich's unsolved murder in D.C. to WikiLeaks and the election. The story was featured prominently on Sean Hannity's program, and it was later retracted and pulled off the Fox News website. Now, his parents are suing Fox.
Go get 'em.
I want the people who started the lies, who are responsible for the lies, held accountable. This has got to stop. We lost his body the first time, and the second time we lost his soul. They took more from us with the lies.
There was another lawsuit this week targeting people that promote conspiracy theories. It involves Info-Whores and the host of Info-Whores, Alex Jones. Already, Info-Whores is at risk of losing its YouTube channel. And now this lawsuit is trying to take Jones and Info-Whores and others to court, saying they're responsible for promoting hoaxes that actually are defamatory toward the people involved. Let's talk about this lawsuit with Brennan Gilmore. He is the plaintiff in the case. He says he was a target of Jones's conspiracy theories. He's also joined by his lawyer, Andrew Mendrala. I appreciate you both for being here. Brennan, I don't have much time, so I want you to tell me what the case is, what you say was defamatory in all the talk about you on Info-Whores.
Well, the defamatory statements were legion, and they were very egregious. People said that I was a CIA asset who was sponsored by George Soros or Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or you name it, to help orchestrate the violence that we saw in Charlottesville last August. They took my service to the United States as a Foreign Service officer and twisted it into a long story of lies that had me, culpable for what we saw last year in Charlottesville.
So you're challenging Jones and a number of other people in court. Andrew, there are obviously strong protections for media organizations, even ones that are revolting, like Info-Whores. So how do you expect to win?
Sure. Well, I think the case for defamation is strong. I mean, Alex Jones and these people sort of feel like they have impunity to say whatever they want and hide behind the First Amendment and claim that any challenge to the lies that they spread are protected speech. And we think that the Fourth Amendment does not protect speech that is demonstrably false, that in many ways has ruined Brennan's life, and it has incited violence and harassment against him. So, you know, we think the case is clear.
Brennan, Jones loves to use clips from this show, so if he's watching, what do you want him to know?
I mean, I don't, you know, we'll have the court process to go over the claims that he made against me, and we'll show in court that they're all baseless. And I think, you know, I'm looking forward to that process, because there are laws that we believe govern responsible journalism, and they do not abide by them. They don't abide by journalistic ethics. They don't abide by the legal code.
So you're using the court process to challenge conspiracy theories. It's really interesting. We will keep an eye on your case. I'm sorry, I'm up against a hard break, but we will try to keep an eye on your case, and we thank you both for...
Go get him. Drag him into court. Make him stand before a judge. Make him stop the nonsense. And, you know, we keep talking about the Pizzagate, right? Well, watch how Alex Jones really stirs up the crowd and incites the simple folk. And I tell you, just watch how it's done. And then we're going to show you what results from rhetoric like this. So, Judy, let's have clip number 9, please.
You want us to cover Pizzagate? We have covered it. We are covering it. And all I know is God help us. We're in the hands of pure evil. I love how the fake news is saying we're fake news. And they're specifically crapping themselves over Pizzagate. And their answer is to say it's all fake. No, WikiLeaks released this. This is in leaked all the Pizzagate stuff as a checkmate. Instead of them using this against our government, they've recruited pedophiles in the government. You know, have my reporters covering Pizzagate, and I've mentioned it some. Pizzagate, as it's called, is a rabbit hole that is horrifying to go down. Now, if you're a radio listener, this is a powerful video, but I've had it reposted. This is on Infowars.com. Pizzagate is real. The only question is, what exactly is it? Let's go ahead and go to the report. Pizzagate is real. The question is, how real is it? What is it? Something's going on. Something's being covered up. Pizzagate is real. The only question is exactly what is it? Kids being... I can't even say it on air, folks. The video, we're going to tweet it out with Breitbart's statement on Infowars.com dealing with Pizzagate. You know, people want me to look into it. I may just have to take off a week and just only research this and actually go to where these places are and stuff. In fact, I'm looking at getting on a plane. I just like Bohemian Grove and stuff. I can't just say something and not see it for myself. They go to these pizza places. There's like satanic art everywhere. There's art of these people where they're shoving children into women's vaginas. That's why I can't cover Pizzagate that much. Is there any real evidence for Pizzagate? Reddit CEO fans conspiracy theory flames by banning discussion of it. Yeah, shouldn't do that. I don't know, thousands of emails talking about code words and stuff. I went to the FBI site, I went and looked it all up, and people asked, well, why weren't you on this earlier? We were on it from the beginning. We've been on it the last couple of weeks since the election, but we're fighting on hundreds of fronts here. So I've seen this criticism that we're not covering Pizzagate enough, even though we covered it every day. But that's how little people on the internet just feel big. They just say, Jones never exposed the Federal Reserve's private. Now, I'll say this. I went back and looked at it more because it's so sickening. I don't like to even hardly look into it, and I've been busy with other big news. But it is big, and we got big breaking news on Pizzagate, so stay with us.
So he went back, and he looked into it more, and it's even more sickening than he thought it was. And, guys, this is what happens. And then people sit there, and they listen to it, and they go, well, how could this be possible? Well, let me see if this is real. And they go on the internet, and they go to look it up, and where do they look it up? At a conservative site. And then they say that the conservative site confirmed what the other site told them. So they go, oh, it must be real. And guys, this is what happens. One lies, and the other swears to it. And the hoax just gets perpetuated, and it just keeps going. And what happens? It results in somebody, another person, getting arrested because he fired an assault rifle in the pizza place. And why did he fire the assault rifle in the pizza place? He must have got mad because he found out that there was no basement. The sex slaves were supposed to be kept in the basement. And I guess when he found out there was no basement, he wasn't a happy camper. So what did he do? He did what simple people do. He fired a shot. So anyway, Judy, let's watch this clown getting arrested with clip number 9.
One of the big surprises of the presidential campaign was the explosion of fake news on the internet. Fantastic tales that some believe to be true. Well, Chip Reed reports that one phony item led to a dangerous situation in Washington.
28-year-old Edgar Welch was arrested in Washington Sunday afternoon outside Comet Ping Pong, a popular family pizza parlor. D.C. police say Welch fired at least one round into the restaurant floor with an AR-15 rifle like this one on his Facebook page. No one was injured. Police say Welch drove all the way from North Carolina to self-investigate Pizzagate, a fictitious online conspiracy theory. Pizzagate started on the internet shortly before Election Day when right-wing sites that make up fake news spread rumors that Hillary Clinton was involved in a child sex trafficking ring in D.C. Court documents say Welch read online that the Comet restaurant was harboring child sex slaves and he was armed to help rescue them. He surrendered peacefully when he found no evidence that underage children were being harbored in the restaurant. Pizzagate has been pushed by Michael G. Flynn, son of retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn, chosen by President-elect Trump to be his national security advisor. The two were seen together at Trump Tower last month. After Welch's arrest Sunday, the younger Flynn tweeted, "Until Pizzagate proven to be false, it'll remain a story." General Flynn himself has also spread stories claiming to link Mrs. Clinton to criminal activity. 6 days before the election, Flynn tweeted, "You decide. NYPD blows whistle on new Hillary emails, money laundering, sex crimes with children, etc. Must read." The story he referred to was fake.
I respect your idea to protest. Please stay all day.
This is not the first time Pizzagate believers have confronted Comet Ping Pong owner James Alefantis. He says he's been getting threats for weeks.
These stories are completely and entirely false. What happened today demonstrates that promoting false and reckless conspiracy theories do come with consequences.
This was a terrifying experience for my children.
Sharif Simley was at Comet Ping Pong with his wife and 3 children when Welch walked in.
This is nothing but, terrorism, and it should be condemned as such.
In addition to the AR-15, Welch was carrying a handgun and a shotgun was found in his car. Scott, he's been charged with multiple offenses.
Chip Reed, thanks.
Guys, you're going to say, Rich, it's really no big deal. Nobody got hurt. What trouble could it really cause? This guy can't be much of an influence, Alex Jones, he has a limited amount of people that watch him, right? There's a limited amount of people that are on his tweet page, on his Facebook page, on YouTube. But you know what, guys? There's one very important person that follows Alex around like a little puppy. And guys, we're going to show you, just like Trump repeats what he hears from Fox and Friends in the morning, we're going to show you how Trump repeats what he hears from the conspiracy theorists and how he repeats it less than hours after it's said from Alex Jones. So, Judy, let's prove why conspiracy theorism is bad news for America and the Trump administration. Clip number 10, please.
It is surreal to talk about issues here on air and then word for word hear Trump say it 2 days later. Obama is a front man, a figurehead. His real name's Barry Soetoro.
His name was Barry Soetoro, and that was his name, and he changed his name to Barack Hussein Obama.
The newest Obama birth certificate that's been released by the White House has been altered in literally dozens of ways.
A lot of people do not think it was an authentic certificate.
How can you say that if
you won't report it, Wolf, but many people do not think it was authentic.
He also, again, wears a ring that has Islamic Arabic script on it. He's wearing a Muslim ring. He is a Muslim. This is incredible. One of our investigative journalists a few weeks ago broke it. Was Cruz's father linked to the JFK assassination? Cuban, hired by Lee Harvey Oswald, bears striking resemblance to Cruz.
His father was with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to Oswald being shot. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. What is this right prior to his being shot?
As we've been saying for 3 years, Hillary is the founder of ISIS along with Obama.
President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton.
I said he's going to use executive orders to go after our guns. Now, sure enough, they're getting ready to do that.
The president's thinking about signing an executive order where he wants to take your guns away. You hear this?
Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon.
She's the devil. In California, where they have farms up here, and they don't get water. I said, oh, that's too bad. Is it a drought? No, we have plenty of water. I said, what's wrong? Well, we shove it out to sea. And I said, why? And nobody even knows why. And the environmentalists don't know why. Now, they're trying to protect a certain kind of 3-inch fish.
I think she's going to show up and on drugs, though. She's going to be whacked out.
She's going to be whacked out.
So they were like, why ain't I 50 point ahead?
She's going to be like, I'm ready to debate.
I think we should take a drug test prior to the debate. I do.
Alex Jones here with an extremely important message to Donald Trump. Crooked Hillary Clinton has openly stolen the nomination of Bernie Sanders. Think about making the issue of Hillary's election fraud in the primaries one of the central issues. Huh? If she stole the primary, she's going to try to steal the general election.
Poor Bernie. First of all, it's rigged. And I'm afraid the election's going to be rigged. I have to be honest.
It is incontrovertible fact that 3 million illegals voted, and that tens of millions of people were on the voter rolls who were dead, and at least 4 million of them voted as well.
I just want to finish by saying your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope. And I think we'll be...
All right. You see the influence, don't you? I mean, you see what Jones says, and then you hear what the president says. And the president has access to the best security and the best sources in the world. And where does he get his information from? The conservative media. Why do you think he lies all the time? Because that's what he's being told. And guys, I tell you, when we started the show, I said I wanted to talk about income equality. And this next clip is going to be about income equality, but it's going to be from the Prager
about
University.
Income inequality, about how unfair it is that a few people are very rich and the rest of us...
Oh, I heard, okay. Can we start this? Anyway, we're going to talk about income inequality, but we're going to use a fox tactic. We're going to use the fair and balanced principle. But first, we're going to show you the conservative side of income inequality. And guys, listen how they try to trick the simple folk to vote against their own interest and to get the idea that income equality is not all it's made up to be. Maybe you shouldn't worry about it. Maybe you should accept a job that pays less. Why? So the people at the top can have more. And watch how it's done. Watch how subtle it is. Watch how smooth it is. And I could just see guys like Uncle Joey and Eva and BJ and Eddie Shaluk and Mr. Smith. I could see them all sitting there nodding their heads in agreement. Yeah, well, we're willing to take less. We're willing to give the 1% more. What's right with you guys? What's right with you guys? All right, Judy, let's show income inequality from PragerU. Number 12, please.
About income inequality, about how unfair it is that a few people are very rich and the rest of us aren't. That the income gap between the wealthy and even the middle class, let alone the poor, is so large. There's only one problem with this complaint. It's wrong.
Bull, it's wrong.
Income inequality is actually a good thing when it's the product of a free market economy.
Free market,
your own life proves
you
it.
Guys don't want to know.
An economy is made up of millions of individuals making decisions about their own lives, where and how much they want to work, what they want to buy, and so on. You are one of those individuals. In a country like the United States, you are free to pursue a path in life that you believe best suits your talents. That talent might be teaching, or making music, or banking or starting a small business or raising a family.
Or working at Dunkin'
Whatever it is,
Donuts or
this
Burger
freedom
King
helps
or
to make life
McDonald's,
enjoyable,
yeah.
exciting, and meaningful. But it's also an expression of inequality. This is simply because we're all different. We have different talents, different temperaments, different ambitions. That's okay because, again, in a free society, we can seek out opportunities that play to our personal strengths, that distinguish us from others. If you find what you're really good at and work hard, you might have great success and make a lot of money. If you're an outstanding athlete, I'll buy a ticket to see you play. If you're a savvy investor, I'll give you some of my money to invest. As long as you have the freedom to guide your own destiny, you have a chance to reach your full potential, achieving success however you define it. But if someone, say a government bureaucrat, told you that your ambition had limits, that there was a ceiling above which you could not rise, I doubt you'd be happy about it. You'd feel like you were in a straitjacket. Forced equality means less opportunity to pursue what makes you individually great. But what about the growing gap between the rich, the 1%, and the rest of us, the 99% that one hears so much about? Isn't that a bad thing? Again, the answer is no. Here's why. In a free market economy, people become wealthy, making what the rich enjoy today into something almost everybody can enjoy tomorrow. The rich are the test buyers. Consider the cell phone. Now we all have them, but when Motorola manufactured the first one in 1983, it was the size of a brick, had a half-hour battery life, reception was terrible, and calls were very expensive. It cost $4,000. But if no one had bought that $4,000 brick, there wouldn't be a $40 cell phone today.
So they're making the claim.
In the
that
1960s, a computer cost over $1 million. Nowadays,
right?
thanks to billionaires like Michael Dell, we have incredibly advanced computers that cost us a few $100s. Remember what an out-of-reach luxury flat-screen TVs once were? Only the rich could afford them. Today, your living room is essentially your own private cinema. The free market is about turning scarcity into abundance. What was once available to the few is now available to the many. Wealth inequality is an important corollary to that truth. So, should I resent the people who became wealthy because they have more money than I do? Or should I be grateful for the economic system that allows them to enrich my life and the lives of millions of other people? This feature of the free market, income inequality, can appear terribly unfair. But with a little further investigation, the real picture becomes clear. Income inequality makes what once seemed like impossible luxuries available to almost everyone. It provides the incentive for creative people to gamble on new ideas. It promotes personal freedom and rewards hard work, talent, and achievement. In sum, income inequality signals that individual liberty, opportunity, and innovation are all present in a free economy. Pretty good for something that's supposed to be so bad. 2 final points. The 1% Club is always open to new members. And you don't have to be in the top 1% to have a very good life.
Trust me, you ain't getting in.
The existence of the very wealthy is what matters most. I'm John Tamney, editor of Real Clear Markets for Prager University.
Yeah, you could become part of the 1%. Yeah, sure. Forget about it. You don't have a chance. The deck is stacked against you. And I love the way they say, you have the freedom. You have the freedom. No, you got the freedom of the 1% to take advantage of you. That's the whole idea. You know, we'll pay you less so we can make more. Guys, that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? Let's share. Let's share the wealth. Instead of, you know, you got some people that are just taking advantage of everybody. But guys, let's see. The next clip, we're going to show you how the conservative formula is wrong and how this guy, the last clip, just got everything virtually ass backwards. So, Judy, let's have clip number 13, please.
For years, conservatives have been telling us that a healthy, business-friendly economy depends on low taxes, few regulations, and low wages.
No regulations?
Are they right?
Low wages?
Well, we've had an experiment going on here in the United States that provides an answer. At the one end of the scale are Kansas and Texas, with among the nation's lowest taxes, least regulations, and lowest wages. At the other end is California, featuring among the nation's highest taxes, especially on the wealthy, lots of regulations, particularly when it comes to the environment, and high wages. So according to conservative doctrine, Kansas and Texas ought to be booming, and California ought to be in the pits. Actually, it's just the opposite. For years now, Kansas's rate of economic growth has been the worst in the nation. Last year, its economy actually shrank. Texas hasn't been doing all that much better. Its rate of job growth has been below the national average.
Look at that
Retail
chart.
sales are way down. Value of Texas exports has been dropping.
Another chart.
But what about so-called overtaxed, overregulated, high-wage California? California leads the nation in the rate of economic growth, more than twice the national average. In other words, conservatives have it exactly backwards.
They got it ass
So
backwards.
why are Kansas and Texas doing so badly and California doing so well? Because taxes enable states to invest in their people, their education and skill training, great research universities that spawn new industries and attract talented innovators and inventors worldwide, and modern infrastructure. That's why California is the world center of high-tech, entertainment, and venture capital. Kansas and Texas haven't been investing nearly to the same extent. California also provides services to a diverse population, including many who are attracted to California because of its opportunities. And California's regulations protect the public health and the state's natural beauty, which also draws people to the state, including talented people who could settle anywhere. Wages are high in California because the economy is growing so fast, employers have to pay more for workers. And that's not a bad thing. After all, the goal isn't just growth.
Wow.
It's a high standard of living. Now, in fairness, Texas's problems are also linked to the oil bust. But that's really no excuse because Texas has failed to diversify its economy. And here again, it hasn't made adequate investments. Now, California is far from perfect. A housing shortage has been driving rents and home prices into the stratosphere, and roads are clogged. Much more needs to be done. But overall, the contrast is clear. Economic success depends on tax revenues that go into public investments and regulations that protect the environment and public health. And true economic success results in high wages. So the next time you hear a conservative say, low taxes, few regulations, and low wages are the keys to economic, business-friendly success, just remember Kansas, Texas, and California. The conservative formula is wrong.
So the conservative formula is wrong, but you can't tell the simple folk that. Why? They got one thing on their mind: to hate the Democrats and to do anything to oppose them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our plan will put less money in our pocket as long as there's not a Democrat in office. That's all we care about. This is the logic. And guys, the next clip we're going to play, it's a way that we're going to show you how the 1% and corporate America once again takes advantage of the country with stock buybacks. Now, you know, a lot of times people say, you know, you're not familiar with the term stock buyback and what it would do. And guys, that's why we're here. We're here so that people can start to understand that the money that's being created in the country exponentially is going to the top. And we're all being left in the dust. And why? Because the people at the top can afford to buy the legislators, the governors, the senators, the congressmen. The government's been bought. By who? The Koch brothers. And guys, you're going to start to see what's going on. But we'll play the next clip and we'll show you. You know, I'll never forget when I was a little kid, my mother used to tell me, Richie, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And for some reason, I thought that was the way it was supposed to be. No more. No more. We all deserve an equal share. All right, so let's see how stock buybacks are a bad idea for America. Judy, clip number 14, please.
In Trump's view, the economy works well when the stock market does well.
Wrong.
But a big reason stocks rise in value and don't fall as far as they would otherwise is stock buybacks. For years, corporations have spent most of their profits on buying back their own shares of stock, instead of increasing the wages of their employees, whose hard work creates these profits. Stock buybacks are artificial efforts to interfere in the so-called free market to prop up stock prices. Because they create an artificial demand, they force stock prices above their natural level. With fewer shares in circulation, each remaining share is worth more. Buybacks don't create more or better jobs. Money spent on buybacks isn't invested in new equipment or research and development or factories or wages. It doesn't build a company. Buybacks don't grow the American economy. So why are buybacks so popular with corporate CEOs? Because a bigger and bigger portion of CEO pay has been in stocks and stock options rather than cash. So when share prices go up, executives reap a bonanza. The value of their pay from previous years also rises in what amounts to a retroactive and off-the-books pay increase on top of their already outrageous compensation. Now that the new corporate tax cut is pumping up profits, buybacks are on track to hit a record $800 billion this year. Buybacks were illegal until Ronald Reagan made them legal in 1982, just about the same time wages stopped rising for most Americans. Before then, a bigger percentage of corporate profits went into increasing workers' wages. Trump and Republicans branded their huge corporate tax cut as a way to make American businesses more profitable, so they'd invest in more and better jobs. But since corporations were already using their profits for stock buybacks, there's no reason to believe they will use their tax windfall on anything other than more stock buybacks. Let's not compound the error. Make stock buybacks illegal, as they were before 1982.
Guys, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Judy, Kurt. Kurt is the guy that came up with the idea of the Info-Whores. So Kurt also came up with the idea, just say nay to the NRA. So who knows, we might have a prodigy on our hands. And guys, next week we're going to do income inequality. See you next week.